guys! Get up! I just had a horrible dream. We were trying to watch a movie. Just trying to have fun, watch a movie, and someone kept telling us that we had to write a script.
We are trying to write a script.
Oh. Well, back to bed.
Ow.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Welcome once again, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, movie nerds of all ages, to another rousing episode of MaJaMa Jams. I, as always, am Jason, my partner Mateo, my younger brother, but only physically, Matthew, collectively known as MaJaMa. And today we viewed a very compassionate documentary about modern pronoun use called Them.
Yes, it's the remake of Us and the long relative of It.
There's that show called You. We didn't.
This is us. You.
There's a movie called Her.
Okay. And him? No.
And already the jokes are flying. Mateo,
Yes.
as always, the boring task of plot synopsis falls to you. What's Them about?
Them is a 1954 movie, black and white, thank God. And it starts as a mystery. It starts as people dying in the desert of New Mexico in a very mysterious way. And it looks like that the only common element is sugar. They find sugar on the sites of...
I thought that was sand.
that's around.
Oh.
Sand, sugar on top.
Yes. And a cop who eventually seems to become probably a detective or somebody. He gets. It looks
He
like
just keeps putting on uniforms. They don't care.
yeah, it's just like it looks like.
Van Peterson, was it?
Well, James Whitmore. That's the actor.
I think, and if it's the one we're talking about, I believe he had a very, what I will call a Twilight Zone face to me. In fact, I was
Yes.
wondering if he was actually in an episode.
The earth is green, Giorgio. Green. The color green.
He looked like a second choice if you can't have Spencer Tracy. You get him. I will put a side by side.
I know
because
the
they have-
name, but
The dog with the patch?
I'm sorry?
That's a dog with the patch on his eye?
I don't guess that joke.
Spencer Tracy.
Spuds McKenzie.
Spuds McKenzie, Spencer
Mc-
Tracy, Spencer Tracy, Spuds McKenzie, Spencer Tracy. They don't rhyme, man. Your joke failed.
You didn't say it right this time.
Spuds McKenzie,
sorry.
Spencer
No, not
Tracy.
him.
Oh, you're right. Okay, it does.
Yeah. Anyways, they start to investigate and they find a strange depression in the ground. They don't know what it is. They take a mold with chalk, I suppose, or something like that.
So
So some
something.
cement or whatever. And they send it to the Department of Agriculture. And a mysterious doctor arrives with his lady daughter, who is also a doctor.
And who is mostly here to be a, holy crap, I know there's giant ants, but I got a raging boner poking through the pants after the broad crawled down from the ship.
She's quite a doctor, huh?
Yeah. She's the kind that takes care of sick people. I think I'll get a fever real quick.
They're kind of like mysteriously, they say, oh, we know what it is, but we have to be sure. Otherwise, if nothing happens, no harm done. And they investigate and they find out that there are giant ants, which highly likely have been a sort of a byproduct of the tests of the atom bomb in New Mexico.
heavy themes at the time.
I'm
Yes. In fact,
mean,
that
Godzilla
will
2,
feature
same year.
prominently in because Mateo, one of the
Yes.
first things you brought up was the
We'll-
closest on the time to Godzilla. But
And
what
we'll get to that.
I wanted to ask though,
Yeah, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah, let me finish the
No,
story,
I
and
just-
then you'll ask.
no, it wasn't about the Godzilla thing. I wanted to say, did they? Of course, at the end they said the commentary, but when did they first say? Was it sometime in the beginning?
It doesn't matter what it's about. Just shut the fuck up.
1945. It
54.
was, no, 45 is the test of the atom bomb.
Oh no, I just don't remember when in the beginning they said we think this is a result of nuclear testing. Is what my question.
It's the doctor when they're watching the.
Tell me, in what area was the atomic bomb exploded? I mean the first one, back in 1945.
It was right here in the same general area. White Sands.
So, of course, it's because of the atom bomb, but they find the nest in the desert. They destroy the nest. However, 2 queens have flown away thanks to a pilot who's believed at first to be crazy, but in reality, he saw exactly what was going on. They found out that they landed in Los Angeles in the sewer. They kidnapped 2 kids. That's a little. Sure.
So then the kids ran away.
Yeah, the
Went
kids
into the
run
thing.
away, and out of 700 miles of tunnels, so they found it in 5 minutes.
They had 4 jeeps though.
Yes, very true. They find the 3 new queens, which they set on fire, and very ominously, the doctors say, we don't know what, kind of like, in not so many words, but what doors we opened.
When man entered the atomic age, he opened a door into a new world. What we'll eventually find in that new world, nobody can predict.
And then the end.
A very abrupt ending. Not a jarringly
Well,
so like it does.
there
but it
was
just-
nothing else left to say, pretty much.
That's funny because I kept thinking that if they had just waited a little bit longer, they would have taken care of everything within the sewers. No one would have known that there was giant ants if they had
Yes.
put that press conference out.
Yes.
They were so close.
The general that night said.
They never got that guy out of the psych ward.
Hey, will you all get me out of here?
They never. That's
Could've
going to
wrapped
be in
that
the
up.
sequel.
Yeah, oh.
He's going to be, yes.
I told you, don't forget.
Yes. So this is, in a nutshell, doing no justice whatsoever to the story, what the story is about, which is funny because both the movie as well as the trailer, they were played as a mystery.
By direction of the President of the United States, stay in your homes. I repeat, stay in your homes.
It starts as a mystery. You don't know in theory, even if the posters were plastering gigantic ants left and right, but the whole tone is of a mystery. So who is doing that? You don't technically.
I thought it was actually a very cool opening and very eerie in the way of like you're just searching for a lost girl and you just see her wandering dead-eyed in the desert. I thought that was a cool idea.
Yeah.
Little girl played it well too. There's a very
little girl
genuinely,
is
a frighteningly dead look
Yes.
to her face. No response.
You were saying?
As I explained to Mrs. Johnson, the little girl's aunt, we hesitated using a curare to diminish the muscular spasms because she's too young.
I was surprised on that note of how quickly we got to the reveal. A pleasant surprise, but I thought it was going to be one of those really just doled out sparingly until the third act brings home, but nicely. First act, I think we get the first appearance of one of them.
Well, yeah,
close to.
Those were. It was a time where the movies were done very quickly, and both in trying to shoot them quickly, and no dead pauses, no actors thinking of brooding or something. Just like they kept on going. The plot moves, the dialogue moves. Occasionally, some funny moments.
Search Abel to search Baker.
Say over. Then say over.
Over?
Medford and Baker to Medford and Abel. Go ahead, Dad, over.
Have you found anything yet?
Say over.
I just said it.
I know, say it again.
Over!
The title, in one word, captures so much of the they who came from outer space, them from the dark thing, from the creature from this, in just them, and the way the little girl screams it when the smelling salts wake her up. It's them! It was them!
Well, that's who she was talking about?
She was talking about the ants.
Oh.
Yeah, probably.
She meant her parents.
It's possible.
That's where the joke was headed. Scream about the ants? No, my dad beats me.
But
ants!
What the fuck are you talking about, mister?
There's ants too? Oh gosh! Thought it was just my alcoholic father!
Dressed as an ant. For some reason.
Dad, please, why do you have to put the costume on? It's bad enough.
Not the pinchers. And apparently, not apparently, realistically, no, not even, whatever.
Naturally.
Adjectively.
Yes. The actual first monster movie with giant animals.
The movie was stellar. I think it hit an incredible sweet spot if you love monster movies, which I of course do. And what I thought was interesting is this almost seems similar to Hellzapoppin', like, holy shit, let's talk about the timeline, because it would seem that this was the birthplace of damn near every trope, from the scientist, the mystery who's doing it,
It's not even the birthplace of the trope, it was the birthplace of the whole genre.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's what I mean. It
just
became tropes based from this.
Because it's solidly done. You have monsters sparse throughout the movie from the time they appear, and apparently you only see up to 3 ants in the same shot because that's all they had built.
I was going to ask.
They did not use, interestingly, once again, I can do it. Interestingly enough, no opticals. They were actually life size. They were 12 feet or whatever. They were saying between 9 and 12.
No forced perspective.
No forced perspective, and they were just like always the same ants that they were setting on fire, and they were just like moved with this very bizarre crane from behind that is seen in one of the outtakes.
Did they set him on fire, repair him, and shoot him again?
Pretty much, yeah.
There's a lot of interesting facets to, especially if you say this is the first time of giant animals.
Name one.
Well, here's my list of interesting facets of this being an appearance of giant ants.
First one.
One, I think that one of the things about insects is, while many people are naturally creeped out by them, I've always thought, as creepy as they are, can you imagine if like an ant was even the size of a gerbil, let alone a cat, let alone a dog, let alone an elephant, so on and so forth? How much more terrifying these creatures would be if they were large. And also, what I've always found most interesting about the Godzilla movies, other than the gleeful monster mash aspect of it, is Godzilla shows us what happens when we are definitively no longer the highest thing in the food chain and we become like the insects. How many times a day do you walk casually about on the sidewalk, squash an ant? That's what Godzilla does to us. So I feel like there's a lot of probably deep-rooted human fears in making ants large, and also just very aesthetically cool, and I think works well with the means of the time. They looked, I mean, yes, I'm sure people who are more jaded or who don't have love for the craft could look at this and chuckle at, I'm supposed to believe these ants, but I think they look great for what they had available to them at the time. Yes, you always say you can tell they're there because they are practical.
Yes. In fact, if you look at a movie that is, I think it's 1977, I think, Empire of the Ants with John Collins. The ants almost entirely, except for the last part, if memory serves once again, they are just like optical, and some of the opticals are they're just like a photo with ants on top, and sometimes the ants crawl on the sky.
Well, not only that too, but how insects outnumber us just fucking.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Drastically, just decimate us completely without hope of any sort of retaliation.
And they just like go with no feelings, no sentiment. They just like you have the soldier ants, and they just like go. Okay, is the popular the need of the many.
Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yes.
Logic clearly dictates that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Which double twist. It was a line in Star Trek II, The Search for Spock. No, the Wrath of Khan. Sorry.
How could you get that one wrong?
Yes, Search for Spock is the third one.
And the gay parody is The Search for Cock.
Yes.
Or The Wrath of Cock.
And one of the soldiers who is bringing telex to secretary is none other than Leonard Nimoy in this movie.
Wait, Nimoy cameoed in this?
Wait, didn't cameo.
I mean,
he wasn't. He was just starting.
I'm sorry, but
did you have the ears on?
No.
Oh. How are we supposed to recognize him?
He was supposed, in one take, he had a sign saying, "I am Leonard Nimoy. I will be Mr. Spock."
Sir, please leave that backstage.
Those Texans. When bigger stories are told, Texans will tell them. That ought to fit in with the kind of stuff they're looking for upstairs.
Anybody found out yet what's going on in this building?
No, real TS stuff. Top secret.
One of our favorite aspects is a really sick opening title shot, title card, should we say.
Yes.
This one is no exception, stellar, and we should talk about, of course.
And the only thing in color.
The only thing in color. It is a nice red, comes out with exclamation point. You said this was supposed to be shot, or was shot in color?
No, it was supposed to be shot in color and in 3D, because at the time it was the era of 3D.
I assume that's why it's red and blue?
Yes.
It's blue?
There's the edge.
Okay, I didn't know.
The thickness or whatever you want to call it. Apparently, Jack Warner, one of the Warner Brothers, lost enthusiasm at the last minute, and they say, let's just do it in black and white, because back then the black and white stock in terms of films was cheaper than the color one. So it was shot in black and white, which to me it gives it the newsreel feeling. It looks like almost not exactly a documentary, but it has that feeling of the old reels of the news. And now, so
I think that lack of enthusiasm may have saved it, because I don't know if this would translate as well in color. And on that note, when was color introduced?
Oh, color introduced way before that. Snow White is 1937, I think, and it's.
But I'm sorry, on live action too. Forgive my ignorance.
Yeah, there were experiments in color, yes, in the 30s.
But when did it become? Let me ask you this way: when did that become the norm? Where you're like, wait, black and white? No, we're past that. When was that?
I don't have a timeline. I would probably put it here.
What I would like to talk about now, which I was very interested in since you dropped this on me earlier, is this is the same year but preceding the original Godzilla.
確かにジュラ紀の生物だ。どこですか?
Which makes sense because they're both completely about atomic fear. Man, it is so somber, emotional, and at times devastating. For those who don't know, the original Godzilla is actually quite heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I would also
Well,
say...
because that's the biggest allegory of the atomic bomb. And so you really don't have that much of a hope if you see it coming. And same as with Godzilla.
Wow. That was nicely said, and I'm going to appreciate Godzilla movies even more now that you said that.
I say nice things sometimes.
It makes me wonder...
Do wonder.
If any people watching this movie at the time, when the atomic bomb was so fresh, do you think there was an added sense of resonance for it? I mean, probably kids are just like giant ants, but I'm wondering if adults went to this like, oh wow, we actually have fucked up. Like we fucking killed a bunch of people. This could be a real thing.
A fantastic mutation, probably caused by lingering radiation from the first atomic bomb.
This movie has kind of a perfect cocktail of you can take it seriously, and yet there's enough old school monster moviness that we were able to make jokes throughout. I feel like it was a great blend of kind of the movies you watch to laugh at and the movies you actually respect. Not that it was really to laugh at, but I just feel like it was a great, like you can recognize that people are talking seriously about giant ants, and you can kind of crack a line or joke or two with your friends, but you can also take the movie seriously. It really did seem...
it is written well.
Yes.
It's not goofy dialogue, and the actors are taking it
very
seriously enough.
I recommend we pour gasoline into those drains and light it. That'll burn out anything that's in there, and still we'll be able to control the fire so there'll be little or no property damage above the street. Any ants that get through, the troops can take care of.
You can't do that, not yet. Not till we find out for sure whether those 2 kids are in there.
You think there's a chance they're still alive? Are we supposed to jeopardize the lives of all the people of this city for the sake of 2 children who in all probability are already dead?
Why don't you ask their mother that question, mister?
Yeah, she's right over there.
They knew what it was, but it's never campy or goofy or anything. It just like played very straight with exactly those 2 or 3 moments, like when they go visiting the drunk guy in the hospital.
What kind of ants did you see?
Oh, big ones. Ain't there now. Mostly at night I see them.
Where?
General, I make a deal with you. You make me a sergeant and charge the booze and on a list. Make me a sergeant, charge the booze. Make me a sergeant and charge the booze.
Jensen, exactly where do these ants show up?
In the river.
The biggest mystery that the movie title on the screen is them with an exclamation point. The poster is just a them with no exclamation point. And in the trailer is even used as an acronym. Is terror, horror,
excitement,
excrement, meh. Yeah, so something like that. I don't know.
Doctor, do the ants defecate? Because right below the thorax here.
Exactly.
Do ants defecate?
I sincerely hope so. Otherwise, they would just say blow up.
How long is an ant's lifespan? I think overall a stellar example of the classic monster movies we love. Like I said, I think the genesis of a lot of what would become tropes of it. As Matteo said, the birth of the atomic monster. Highly recommend.
Yes.
Especially for genre fans.
Absolutely.
A couple of months ago in the desert of New Mexico, gigantic ants were discovered. These ants are similar in appearance and characteristics to the household and garden pests you're familiar with, except that they are mutations, ranging in size from 9 to 12 feet in length.
Was it worth it not to write today to watch this movie?
It's always worth it to do nothing.
Absolutely.
But
my leg's going numb. Remember the scale now.
There are no musical numbers.
It's true.
The ant comes out with a giant top hat.
I'll go with 1. It was pretty great. Still, I mean, you can't avoid this with any monster movie, but still a lot of old white men talking to each other in a room.
Yes. The only
impossible
black
to avoid
character
was the shoe shiner.
Was a shoe shiner.
It stuck out as so like, I know it's of the time, but it's just like, God, literally the one black character in the movie.
Yes.
Literally.
Maybe a few, maybe thousands. If new queen ants have hatched and escaped this nest, other American cities, even now, may be in danger.
At least they made him walk. He's the only one in the scene, exactly.
He stopped working on the white man's shoes.
Yes,
when
thank
the
God.
radio
At least he
broadcast.
said, "An ant's coming. Fuck the white man's shoes."
They're the cars that running.
A
in the
Rosa
background
Parks
and-
in his own way.
Yes, so at least that.
So yes, in all these movies, any Godzilla movie, you can't avoid the boardroom.
I did want to
meeting.
bring up the ratio. Actually, that's the one thing I would have said.
Black people to white people.
As always, the question, as the one thing I didn't bring up, the monster movie is always about the ratio. Now, sometimes the complete sparsity works wonders, a la the original Alien, the original Jaws, but oftentimes, yes, if you're really there with drooling fangs for the monster action, that can be a thing. So I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't feel it too much here.
I'm
Like I
tired
said,
of holding this.
Okay, I'm going to agree with my brother. Like I said, just a great example of all the stuff that we love about these movies. And, yeah, one just for the possible, like you said, maybe you have to sit through a little bit of White Men, although I would like to stress, as Mateo said, dialogue moves nicely. But yeah, we'll go with 1.
I'm not throwing anything because I love this movie. The first time that I saw it, it terrified me. I was probably 6 or 7.
I wish I had that experience. Because I thought that's what it said. Like, was you a kid, the ants must have been like, oh my God.
Yeah, and we didn't have anything to compare it with. There were not 25,000 movie monsters. Actually, definitely at the time, I knew of Godzilla, but I hadn't seen Godzilla. This is probably one of the first big monster movies I've ever seen.
MaJaMa.
I still have a soft spot for this movie, and it still works, it still holds to this day. So I'm very happy for it, and I hope that other people will see it, including my aunt.
Nice.
We went the whole episode without an ant joke, so that seems like a good place to end.
Yes. Let's end.
MaJaMa.
I love this movie. I remember the first time I saw it, which...
In the theater?
No.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. That was an honest question of if they played it in like a...
This is the respect I get here for having them in my house 24/7.
I didn't expect that much of a laugh. I really didn't mean that as a joke. I mean, don't they play stuff retroactively?
All right, listen, just let it go.
Yes.
Okay? It's out there. It's out there.
Yes.
It's floating around.